The first time my phone rang after midnight, I thought it was nothing more than a drunk friend or a wrong number. The sound split the silence of my apartment, vibrating against the nightstand, dragging me out of a half-dream. When I glanced at the screen, there was no name, just a number I didn't recognize, its digits pale against the glow of the glass. For a moment, I considered ignoring it, but something about the way the call pulsed on the screen, like it was alive, drew my thumb toward the accept button before I could think. I lifted the phone, expecting laughter, static, or maybe the voice of someone apologizing for dialing the wrong person. Instead, I heard breathing. Slow, heavy, deliberate, not the careless background noise of a busy line. This was intimate, intentional, like the caller wanted me to hear every inhale, every exhale. "Hello," I whispered, my voice barely a sound. The breathing stopped. A pause. Then, a man's voice rasped through the line, low and jagged like gravel dragged across metal. "Do not hang up." My hand froze. I couldn't even blink. The air in my room felt thick, almost pressing against me. "I'm sorry, who is this?" I asked, trying to mask the tremor in my words. The man ignored me. Instead, he whispered something else, something I didn't understand at first. A string of numbers, spoken slowly, as though each one mattered. When he finished, there was silence. And then, as suddenly as it had come, the call ended. I stared at the phone in my hand, the glow now gone, my own reflection faint in the black screen. I told myself it was a prank, just a stupid prank, but the numbers wouldn't leave my head. I tried to go back to sleep, but the digits wouldn't stop looping in my brain. I saw them when I closed my eyes, bright as neon, repeating like a chant. By morning, curiosity outweighed fear. I scribbled the numbers onto a piece of paper, staring at them over coffee. It wasn't a phone number, not an address, at least not in any format I recognized. Yet there was something deliberate about the way they were given, as though they were coordinates to a place I wasn't supposed to find. All day, I told myself it was just some creep with too much time on his hands. But as midnight crept closer again, a knot tightened in my chest. I sat awake, staring at the phone like it was a venomous animal coiled and waiting. At 12:07 a.m., it rang again. Same number, same unnatural pull to answer. My hand shook as I swiped the screen. This time, the voice didn't breathe. It laughed. A short, sharp laugh that made the hair on my neck rise. "You didn't write them down, did you?" it asked. I froze. My eyes flicked toward the counter, where the crumpled slip of paper sat under my empty mug. "What do you want?" I whispered. "You're already part of it," the man hissed. "Don't ignore the call, or you'll see what happens." The line went dead again, leaving me with the hum of silence and my own racing pulse. I wanted to throw the phone across the room, smash it until there was nothing left. But I couldn't. Instead, I found myself checking the paper again, tracing the numbers with my finger. The numbers weren't random. I knew that now. By the third night, I was a wreck. I hadn't slept, barely eaten. Every creak of the floorboards, every hum from the refrigerator made me jump. When the clock ticked toward midnight, I sat frozen in my chair, waiting. Sure enough, the phone lit up again, buzzing against the wood of my desk like it was alive. This time, I almost let it ring out. Almost. But at the last second, I answered. The voice was calmer now, more controlled. "You've been warned," it said. "Now you need to listen." "I don't want any part of this," I said, my throat dry. "You already are," the caller replied. Then came more numbers, recited slowly, followed by a name. A woman's name. "Clara." I repeated it aloud, confused. "Clara who?" The line crackled. The voice dropped to a whisper, and I swear I felt cold air brush my ear. "Look outside." My stomach twisted. Against every instinct, I pulled back the curtain. There, under the jaundiced glow of the street lamp, was a woman. She stood perfectly still on the sidewalk, facing my apartment. I couldn't make out her face, but I knew she was staring at me. I stumbled backward, dropping the curtain. My phone slipped from my hand, clattering to the floor. But even without holding it, I heard the man's voice, muffled but unmistakable, seeping from the speaker. "Clara is closer tonight." The call ended. I didn't sleep. I sat with the lights on, clutching a kitchen knife, staring at the door until the sun finally rose. When I dared to peek outside again, the sidewalk was empty. No woman, no footprints, nothing. But I knew she had been there. The next day blurred into a haze of exhaustion. At work, I kept checking my phone, terrified it would ring before midnight. It didn't. The silence should have calmed me, but instead, it built pressure like the pause between lightning and thunder. I couldn't shake the image of the woman beneath the street lamp. Clara. Why that name? Why me? By evening, paranoia had sunk its claws into me. Every face in the crowd seemed unfamiliar, every reflection in store windows a little too sharp, a little too focused on me. When night fell, I sat on the couch gripping the knife again, eyes darting between the clock and the window. At 12:03 a.m., the call came. I didn't want to answer, but I also couldn't let it ring unanswered. The sound burrowed into me until I finally swiped the screen. You saw her. The voice said, matter of fact, as if we were continuing a casual conversation. I don't want this, I said. Leave me alone. The voice chuckled. That's not how it works. Clara is bound to the numbers. You heard them. You wrote them. You let her in. My chest tightened. What do you mean, let her in? You'll understand soon. Before I could respond, a knock echoed through my apartment. Not a soft knock, a pounding, deliberate, vibrating through the doorframe. I froze, phone clutched to my ear. Don't answer, the caller whispered. Not yet. The knocking grew louder, more frantic, as though whoever, or whatever, was on the other side wanted to break through. I crept toward the door, heart hammering, every instinct screaming at me to stay away. But then I heard it, a woman's voice, muffled but clear. Please, open the door. I couldn't move. My hand hovered over the doorknob as the voice pleaded again, softer now, almost childlike. My mind screamed that it was a trap, that opening the door would be the worst mistake of my life. Yet something inside me, a mix of morbid curiosity and the desperate need to end this nightmare, compelled me forward. Slowly, I unlocked the door and cracked it open. The hallway was empty. The street outside was empty. The night air carried a chill, sharp enough to burn my lungs, but there was no one there. I leaned out, peering into the darkness, and then I saw it, a slip of paper lying in the middle of the sidewalk. On it, the same string of numbers, written in jagged, red ink. I bent down and picked it up, feeling a shiver crawl along my spine. The phone rang again in my pocket. I froze. My thumb trembled as I answered. You opened the door, the voice said, flat, calm, terrifying. Now she knows you. The air thickened. The street lamps flickered, plunging me into momentary darkness, then back into the weak yellow glow. And there she was, Clara, standing at the end of the street, her head tilted unnaturally, eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. She didn't move toward me. She didn't move at all, but I could feel her presence pressing in, a weight on my chest, a cold that seeped through my skin. Do not hang up, the voice whispered again. And before I could respond, the line went dead. I dropped the phone. My legs gave way beneath me. I had learned the lesson too late. Some calls aren't meant to be answered. Some voices aren't meant to be heard. And some numbers are doors. I never called back. I never answered again. But sometimes, in the deadest hour of night, I still hear the faint buzz of a call coming in, and I swear I can hear her whisper my name.